the Shark Deck.
For 40 years now, we've been waiting for Eddie Murphy to return to stand-up. This will be the Beatles reunion of stand-up comedy, should it ever happen. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your Daily Comedy News, and I don't think it could ever possibly live up to the hype. It's been too long, Eddie Murphy. If you do it now I believe in you. I've seen you perform. I know you can crush. But boy, talk about a high bar for the return of comedy. Eddie Murphy spoke to ET Canada and said, I want to get back to live performing, but I don't know if it would just be stand-up. I'd have to figure out how to do a full-on show because I have music and I do comedy. I want to do comedy and music, a real show. I want to have the show be more than just stand-up. Stand-up comedy would be part of it. I want to figure out how to do like a full-on show. Would he have any celebrity guests? He says, nope, just be him. He's the star. It's me and all my characters. I have to figure out how to do all those characters. You can have holograms and characters and stuff, comedy and music like an experience. I'm trying to figure out how to do something that's never been done before. My past people want to see me do stand-up, so stand-up comedy would be part of it, but I want to have a show that reflects everything, my entire experience that I've had and everything that I do. I want to see that. It's like, how do I get that on stage? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Wow, I don't know. That's going to be... Ooh. I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't know. Pretty high bar. The Guardian caught up with Bert Kreischer. He says, it's true. When he was 22, he really did befriend two Russian banditti, great word, named Igor and Igor, drink vodka with them all night, and then help them hold up a buffet car. They took to him, he says, because he went shot for shot with them until 4 a.m., and it's how he earned the nickname, The Machine. Then there were the stories of how he had a bare-knuckle fistfight with a 10-foot grizzly bear, jumped off the 1,149-foot Stratosphere Tower in Las Vegas, and got fired from a human slingshot. Those are some of the zany yarns that Bert Kreischer tells on stage, mixing in stories about raising his two daughters and the mundane reality of married life. Bert Kreischer does have some regrets. His two daughters are now famous among Bert Kreischer's fans because he's talked about them so much, yet they hate people knowing who they are. Bert said, if they could trade all my success for anonymity, they'd do it in a heartbeat. One of the daughters just started college, and now every frat boy is knocking on her door. They're like, hey, you want a party? We got a party. I want to party with the Machine's daughter, but she's not that kid. He gets anxious, too, that both his daughters have confessed to smoking cannabis and thinks it's in part because he's made such light of it in his shows and podcasts. Bert said, I remember they told me as if we were friends. I'm like, I'm your dad. I wish I could put the toothpaste back in the tube. Philadelphia Weekly, they've been crushing it with their comedy articles lately. They caught up with Donnell Rawlings. The topic, cancel culture, and Philly Weekly said, certainly Chappelle has made working through and against that something of a cause. He seems to get away with whatever he says as he spits in the face of it all. Donnell said, that's putting too much power in the hands of too few people. Take his last special. You got 100 people watching that. Maybe 2 might be upset. Instead of focus on the 98, the focus goes on the 2. Why? When you're your own boss, you're not beholden to someone like Nike who say, I want to make money with or through you. You don't have to worry about that. The most important people to me then are the people who are paying to come see my show and spend money. The other people, I can't concern myself with them. The only thing cancel culture wants to do is stop you from making a living. They get off on hearing Walmart doesn't want to work with a comic. Philly Weekly followed up and said, if you're a comic, a pure stand-up, who doesn't deal often with corporate film or TV making, the pressure is off. Donnell said, real stand-up comedians who don't worry about making movies, all we want to do is be able to put our name on a marquee and make a living off our God-given talent. You can't cancel someone like that. Being a mega movie star isn't everyone's goal. I just want to go to work this weekend and provide for my family and keep it moving. I don't need Disney, even though they do some good stuff. I'm not saying screw that industry. I'm picking my battles. I just need my fans to come and continue to support me, and I'll give them the best show that I can. Jerry Seinfeld joked about marriage. He said, well, I'm not in Hollywood. I'm in New York, so I have a little advantage there. I always thought that LA was very bad for marriage. 4 seasons is good marriage weather. When it's sunny and warm all the time, that's not good for long relationships, because it makes you want to venture out. It's nice out. New York, you just want to stay home in the winter. My personal viewpoint is this. The problem with humans is our heads are just way too big, and one of the greatest appeals of monogamy is the simplification of the mental process. I don't have any friends who aren't faithful to their wives, but if I did, my main question would be, who's got time to figure all that out? It's just too much work. 7 Days Vermont did an excellent interview with River Butcher. The topic, sharing criticism with other comics. River said, I have learned in my own life that criticism is just not something that I share with another human being, especially not other comics. I never know what's going to be criticism to another person. Sometimes I think of a tag to somebody's joke, but someone has to be very close for me to be like, hey, are you open to a note about this? Because sometimes notes or tags feel like criticism to people. I get really sensitive when I get off stage, so I just try to praise my fellow comedians. What's the point? I think it's a good tag. They might not. I'd rather keep my friendships intact than share that. An opposite practice for me is learning to take criticism with a grain of salt. It has nothing to do with me. Variety did a long profile of Andrew Santino, and they were like, hey, Andrew Santino, you poke fun at Trump, Biden, and Kamala Harris in the special. Are you ever wary of alienating part of your audience? Santino said everyone is fair game in the political world. Santino says the Trump backlash is more aggressive. People online are like, someone should assassinate you, which is insane. Trump's side tends to be more like, someone should shoot you in the streets, where the Biden side is a little more like, why would you do something like that? You're a loser. But no, I don't care about the alienating. If you don't get that I'm kidding, I don't need you as a fan. Audiences are free to respond how they feel about the material. I'm not putting the onus on the audience. I'm saying you're a part of it as much as I'm a part of it. Comedy is a shared experience. Your preconceived notions of the world construct how you receive things, your race, your gender, your age, your socioeconomic status. All that you bring to the comedy show. I'm leading the horse to water and showing them what they're drinking. I'm giving you the material, but you're building it. We're just comics. I'm not standing on a platform telling you have to feel this way or you have to agree with me. I'm just joking about nonsense in the world. Variety said, well, you mentioned Dave Chappelle in the special, and you say the beauty of the world we live in is he can say whatever he wants and people can respond however they want. How is Netflix as a partner, and why did you want to bring up Chappelle in the special? Santino said, I have nothing bad to say about Netflix. They were like, hey man, go do your thing. They didn't say you can't say that, you can't talk about that, which tends to happen at other companies. I wanted to talk about Dave Chappelle in the special to give it some levity. In that sense, there's a ridiculous nature to it. People were enraged, and I say very specifically in the special that people have a right to be upset at him. They're allowed to say, I don't like that kind of speech, but I don't think censorship of comedy is a healthy place to be. What's the barometer for what we're allowed to say? You can't bar him from expressing his feelings as an entertainer. Then we get into speech control, and that's a little weird unless you're inciting violence. Then you get into the legal world, and that gets a little shaky. Dave is a comedian. I don't think there's hate in his heart. I don't believe he hates a group of people. Now, I don't know on a personal level. I just don't feel that to be true. There's a difference between how a dictator speaks about a group of people and how a comedian speaks. Mardi Gras is coming up, and from New Orleans, the crew of Bacchus announced that actor, screenwriter, comedian, and producer Adam Devine, you know him from Workaholics, he will reign as Bacchus, the Roman numerals here, let's see, L-I-V, 54th, Bacchus the 54th, for their Mardi Gras parade on February 19th. Parade is at 5:15 p.m. on Sunday, February 19th from Napoleon Avenue on its traditional uptown route. The theme of Bacchus's 54th parade is Throw Me Something, Mister. This will be portrayed on 21 theme floats, including Mr. Potato Head, Mr. Coffee, Mr. Mardi Gras. Specialty items this year include 17 different socks, numerous kitchen items, light-up baseball bats, glass beads, flip-flops, and notepads, and charging cords, and, of course, the Beach Boys who will be performing at the Bacchus Rendezvous. Okay, and I'm a major Beach Boys fan, but that's pretty funny to me. Have fun. Surf's up. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows, and I'll see you tomorrow. Did you hear about the border collie who recycles trash when he's out on his walks? Or how about the bear that stole someone's Chick-fil-A, but good news, left the salad behind? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, host of 5 Good News Stories. Don't worry, I have stories about humans too, like there's a woman who makes a living because she looks like Jim Carrey. It's my podcast. It's 5 Good News Stories. 5 Good News Stories, the number 5 Good News Stories, twice a week. 5 Good News Stories. Oh, and Shamrock Shakes are back too. Good news. 5 Good News Stories, wherever you get your shows.